Dave, how about that? Oh, hold on. Let's get you. Call, vMix call.
Now you got some audio.
There we go. Oh, man, somebody turned the lights up. Holy cow.
Yeah, see?
What do you got?
I'm ready to go. That's just my little XP setup for basic stuff like this.
Sweet. Sweet.
Just
I love it.
I got 2 more over there programmed up for other stuff.
Yeah.
I got one, the 12 key jog shuttle for simple replay, and I've got the another 24 set up for scoring. Right now it's set up football scoring, but I'm trying to come up with a layout and color scheme that we can just change out certain keys, and you can go from football to basketball to baseball, and almost everything will be on your X keys.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's great. All right, Tommy's here. Peter's here. John's here. Kyle's here. Rudy's here. Holy cow. Let's see, who else did I miss? Gunner's here. And Ed is here. Frank is here. E Plus TV is here. That's a new one on me. Introduce yourself, E Plus. Glad to have you. So, Dave, do you have the NS1 noise filter?
That was my filter. It's called mute.
It's called
knocks
mute.
out everything. There's nothing gets through.
No, Waves Audio has got something called the NS1. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Because you've got some background noise there that I bet the NS1 could.
Well, I'm actually coming off of a webcam audio here.
I bet it would even work on a webcam.
Oh yeah. Any audio that you send through it. But I did hook up the demo the other night, and it didn't touch the problems I was having.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Didn't touch it.
I have a client out your way that has got a big room that she cannot sound treat in any way. Hard walls, hard floor, hard ceiling. And so she was having that room echo. And we put the NS1 on there, and it took it completely out. It was amazing. Amazing.
I'm going to see here what I can do with my audio. I might just switch over to my overhead mic. It might even get worse, but at least it's closer to me. It's not so far away.
Okay. Kenny's here. Dean's here. All right. Well, that's much cleaner. So now we can't hear anything. That's right. It's if anybody's wondering what's going on, it's winter down here in Alabama today. It's in the 50s, so I had to wear a sweater. Oh yeah, that was sweet.
Testing 1 2 testing 1 2.
A little more volume.
Just looking at stuff here.
Yep.
Move my notes and things out of the way. Oh, need any volume would be more helpful than where it is now. Check 1 2 check checkity check.
That's
there
not
we go. I'm
bad.
actually got a green indicator on my PreSonus down there. Well, I'm underneath the microphone at that point instead of behind it. So, testing 1 2 3. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tom Sinclair's Streaming Idiots, sponsored by Eastern Shore Broadcasting.
Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. All right, give me a sound check again.
Testing 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Check. Test.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I went ahead and put the NS1 on you, so that took out a little
okay.
bit.
Put it on me, man.
That's right.
On. I can turn it up more if you put it on me.
You can put it on anywhere. So I am excited about today's show.
Oh, man.
Oh, did you turn things up? Okay.
Just a tad. A tad. I think maybe too much.
Okay. I had a little bit of
If I can
gain
hear,
on this
if I can hear,
input.
yeah, if I can hear the hiss, then I know my preamp is up too much.
Gotcha.
So turn it back.
If
Just
I
a
hear the
shade.
hiss, it means I'm not taking my meds.
There you go. Or there's a cottonmouth down under your desk.
That's right. That's which is possible too.
All that rain has just run them up to on the bank there where you are.
Oh man, I tell you what, Mississippi has had it. Mississippi has had it. Rich is here. Mark is here. Taekwondo Replays is here. I'm trying to remember who that was. I'm not good. I mean, the memory game is not my game.
Tommy said he hears a truck. Tommy, I'm driving. Driving today.
That's it. I have a 5-year-old grandson that can play the memory game. You know, when you get a deck of cards and you flatten them all out, and then you flip them over in pairs, and he has got that eidetic memory thing, and he can beat me 4-1 on that. It's incredible. It's incredible. He can tell you the score of any game that he's seen, you know, a year later. He's 5 years old. He and I had an argument one day about what teams were in the Big Ten. He was right.
Yeah, what you gonna do, man?
That's right. That's right. I just try to stay out in front of him as best I can. Miranda's here. Hey, Miranda. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of months at NAB. And Miranda and Maggie have renamed their show. It used to be 5 Minute Friday, and now it is Spiny Talk. Yeah, that's going to be the X Keys show, still on Fridays, I think. Miranda, please post a time of day so that we're there.
I just hope they don't add spines to the X keys. I mean, they're just getting a little prickly over there at the X Keys PI Engineering gang.
That would probably impact sales a little bit. Yeah.
Just slightly.
That is too funny. Ramsey's here from Western Australia where it's 4 a.m. So he's either up early or up late. Yep. All right. Miranda says the Spiny show is still Friday at 11:02 Eastern Standard Time. 11:02. So that's what? That's 8:02 for you, Dave. That's 10:02 for me.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we got audio good.
Is my audio in sync? Am I in sync? Because I had just added that, so I hadn't played with it.
Yeah, you look like it to me. Let's see if I've got you delayed.
Okay.
I don't have you delayed anything here. You're spot on.
Okay.
Let's see what your vMix call stats are. You're sending me 720. It's coming in at about 1200K, 30 frames a second, with about a 400 millisecond latency. The latency on the audio is almost exactly the same, within about 10 milliseconds. So you're good there. If anybody hasn't, they want to try the new vMix preview. It's a beta that involves some updates to the vMix call when used with the browser. You can get it on the vMix forum, where I posted a link to it in the Streaming Idiots group this morning. Dave, let me see if I can add a little bit more filter to you, because you picked up a little bit of buzz there. Well, I got to go up to 90% to get that hiss out. What does that make you sound like?
Let me kick this back just a little bit. Let me take it off this end. That should help you a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Good. Good. Thank you, Chris. Chris says in New Zealand it's almost 9 a.m. Well, there you go. And Marie's here, so we can get started. All right, there we go. Dave, you know what you're doing, right?
No. What am I doing?
No,
I just got a message that told me to click this button, and here I am. So what are we doing?
You are so cool. You are so cool. Well, I hope you know what you're doing because I don't have a clue. Anybody that's wondering if you'd like to meet Dave in person, you can do that at the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB on Monday night, April 20th, when we have it at Scott Whitney's Podworks studio. So it'll be a real live streaming studio and real live Dave Edwards in person doing the interviews on the Streaming Idiot show. Right? That's still a deal.
As long as Kenny says so.
Okay. Well, Kenny said he would do it if you would do it. So there you go.
Okay, so it's
John.
We'll see.
John says that I'm naked. I think he means that my green screen is off. Yeah, it was funny, and I hadn't intended to do it, so I just threw this up there quickly. So there you go. All right. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. Just when I thought I was over this little naggy thing. All right.
it's persistent.
It is persistent. I'm going to switch to the other chair. And Dave, you don't go anywhere. And we'll be right back with Dave. And this is the Dave shot. There we go. So Dave, feel free to amuse people.
Are you back yet, Tom? I've done all I'm allowed to do on live streaming, so I'm done.
Get some audio here. Check. Yep, that's me. I'm working. And I think I'm a little blown out. And Dave's a little dark, so on the average, we're right on target.
Right down the middle. Got your ears on now?
Got my ears on now. Okay.
Good.
All right. Let's roll the opening and and see what happens. You ready? I'm going to mute you for just a second. And we'll go there. And then we'll go there. Hello and welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair. This is Streaming Idiots. We're so glad that you're here today. Just want to let you know, I've got my X Keys XK80 here going here. It is not exactly approved by X Keys in my layout, but that's okay. Really excited about our guest today. He's come to us all the way from California. That's right, all the way over at the left coast. And Dave Edwards is here, and Dave is going to share with us about this new cool, I guess it's a plug-in, maybe it's an app, it's a feature, it's an add-on to vMix called Automation for vMix that Giles Warham at Step Back in Time TV has cooked up, along with help from others. And Dave is one of the ones on the team that's been working on that. So he's getting geared up to show us. He's working out the final details and bugs in it right now as we speak, so that he's He's ready to go in just a second. But first, before we get to Dave, if you have been living under a rock and you're just come out from under that rock and you said, what could I do sometime in April, maybe like April 20th? You could go to NAB in Las Vegas and go to the Streaming Idiots meetup at Scott Whitney's Podworks studio at 7 o'clock. Yeah, April 20th. It's free. And you could win a camera or some other goodies. Plus, you could get to meet Dave. Dave will be there. He'll be signing autographs. And, and I'm watching him in the green room. He's going, what? No, he isn't really. But it's going to be a great opportunity to meet folks that you might talk to in the chat. You might have heard we talk about. Certainly, I'll be there. I'm hoping folks from PTZ Optics will be there, and X Keys and vMix and Bird Dog, and you know that crew that's kind of the live streaming group. There, a lot of them are there every year. This will be our 4th year of doing the meetup, and so it'll be a lot of fun. I hope you'll come. It'll be worth. So if you're going to NAB anyway, make sure you stay over Monday night. Remember, NAB starts on Sunday this year. So it goes Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and our party's on the second night, which is going to be Monday night. It's going to be a great opportunity to meet a lot of folks, and there's just something special about meeting them in person. There really, really is. I want to give a shout out to Sister Toby. Sister Toby is in the island of St. Kitts, on the island of St. Kitts down in the Caribbean, and Sister Toby has commissioned me to build her a PC for her ministry show. I'm really excited about that. It's coming along really, really well, and we'll be shipping it off to her probably tomorrow or Friday. But a shout out to Sister Toby. It's neat to be able to work with folks that are doing some special things like that. Had some folks drop by the studio last week from a church over on the other side of Mobile. And, you know, they looked all over the place and then found out, oh, yeah, there's a guy just right over the bay that does what we need to do. So they came by and looked at some cameras and some PCs, and we had a good old time. And I think we're going to end up building something for them. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we, after long last, golly, it's been September, I think. No, maybe even longer than that. We'll be building a PC for the folks on the big boat that have the 20-foot by 30-foot LED screen that want vMix to power it. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And we've got some others on the workbench that, you know, just kind of, when we build it for somebody and then they take it and put their name on it and sell it to somebody else, we're not allowed to talk about those folks. So anyway, there's some of that going on too. And that's fun. We enjoy doing that too. Yeah, it's a little bit more technical, but that's all right. That's part of the fun of it. If you're you know, in New Zealand and you're saying, you know, I really do need vMix, you know, you can buy it from us here at Eastern Shore Broadcasting. You can go to easternshorebroadcasting.com, go to our little store. It's not a fancy store, but we've got vMix there, and we got cameras and capture cards and all sorts of cool stuff. We got all the Bird Dog gear there. And literally, don't tell anybody, but we can send this anywhere in the world. And so depending on the exchange rate, if you're overseas from us here in the U.S., we might be able to get you a better deal than you could from somebody that was a little closer to you, even including shipping and all those kinds of things. So give us a shout. We'd be happy to help out. We have one last little announcement. We had a show on this a couple of weeks ago. The virtual video director, it's an audio controlled switcher that has come back, and it's in a brand new version. It's really, really cool. If you haven't seen that show, go back in our YouTube archives and take a look, and we'll probably be doing another show on that so soon. So keep an eye out for that too. Now, our guest today, Dave Edwards. Dave is from the Worldwide Streaming Network, and Dave and I met for the first time when I was in regular clothes, and he was, well, we'll let him tell you that story. So let's see if we can bring Dave in and make sure I've got his mic on. Dave, are you there?
I'm still here, Tom.
Well, good. So I was in regular clothes, and you were not.
Well, geez.
No, I'm not talking about that other time. I'm talking about
That time.
that
Okay.
time. The time at
Yeah,
NAB.
that was my first trip to NAB,
That was cool.
and I went down and found the vMix booth, and I had my bag with me and stuff, and saw Martin and Tim and Martin's sister, I think, was there.
Kimberly.
And yes, Kimberly. I went behind the wall where the sofa and at that time, the little thumb drives were that you could pick up a copy of vMix on a thumb drive right there, ready to go.
Oh yeah.
And I opened my bag up and did a little costume change and came walking around the corner. Now, they were kind of curious as to what I was doing back. They thought, okay, we got some crazy flasher person back there changing their clothes or getting into their overcoat or whatever. But now I had the banana suit on, the infamous banana suit, and surprised everyone, I guess, I hope. Maybe.
That was notable. That
Yeah.
that stands out in my memory. Sure does.
Yeah, hard to forget. Kind of can't get that out of your mind, right?
That's what, once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. That's right.
That's right.
No,
That's
but
the word I was looking for.
And that was a really an immersion experience for you with vMix, because I think they ended up being so overwhelmed that they gave you a vMix package.
Overwhelmed, underwhelmed. I don't know what it was. Felt sorry for me. Thought, well, we'd give him this and maybe he'll go away. Not sure. I actually on that trip ended up getting a what is that controller? Little Shuttle Pro controller. Martin for replay. Martin gave me one of those. Tim emailed me a vMix license later on for that, a pro license no less, and you gave me a pair of glasses that I could record on, sunglasses from our pal up north.
Yeah.
And you gave me that, so I scored pretty good. But that was good because that T-shirt that I was wearing, it had Streaming Idiots on it and all this stuff. That sort of reimbursed me for what I spent on that shirt. Yeah, it was a good time.
You never know.
That's right.
Well, folks, if y'all come to NAB, there's just never knowing what Dave's going to be dressed up as. You know, this year I think it's going to be a cauliflower. I'm not sure. Anyway,
Porcupine or a hedgehog,
that's right.
maybe.
A hedgehog.
And hang out with Maggie and the gang over there.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That was funny. Well, give me a little bit of history about automation for vMix, and then let's take a look at it. What do you say?
Well, lots of people wanted to automate stuff. It's just so many posts, and even on the Funtime Live show, lots of people talking to Martin and saying, hey, when are you going to be able to put a playout system in it so we can do a TV station? And Martin has been fairly adamant about going, well, this is the product and we're not going to go that route. And there have been a number of attempts to put things together, and some of them have worked well, some of them have not. Some people came up with some nice little tools that you could use to automate some of the things within vMix, just simple commands, API calls and things like that. And Giles is such a brainiac. He's listening to all these people talk about this stuff, and he decided to play around with it and to get back into programming because he hadn't been programming for quite a while. And he had to learn a new language and all that. But, he just started playing with it and started working with it to do some automation because doing the World of Live Streaming shows that we normally do, he has several computers doing various things, and and he has almost no internet, so he has to kind of juggle a lot of things and keep up with things. And so he started setting it up so he would get warnings if things happened, and how he could have things just automatically go instead of having to punch a bunch of buttons, and or a lot of the things that we do with triggers now, most people are doing with triggers or even scripts within vMix. Giles ultimately got to the point where he believed that he wouldn't need a crew to run a streaming event with multiple cameras. He had so much that he had put into this. And now what I'm going to show today isn't all that. I'm going to show you one trick that everybody's been wanting to do. And we actually did a demonstration for a client in Florida yesterday on it. So we're putting together the quote and going to drop that in his lap. He has 12 TV stations that'll be going full tilt starting around the end of March. But what we've got here today is the proof of concept TV station edition that Giles is working on right now, putting the package together so it's very specific to that, with a number of what is he calling them here? Extensions. He calls them extensions. The system basically is a server. And by server, I just mean server software that can run on almost anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big, powerful computer and all that. It can run on almost anything. I'm going to cut over here and show you 4 of the panels that we use right now. You're cutting me off a little bit, but that's okay. There we go. You see the countdown at 40 seconds and less. It's getting ready to switch to that program category that it's showing at the bottom, NJCAA football. And when it turns 30 seconds, it goes red. So you know that it's getting ready to swap over. The server is actually this thing in the upper left-hand corner here, the box with the little green screen on it and the letters in it. And I'm going to actually switch over to vMix so that you can see what happens. It's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as it counts down, and then it goes to the schedule and shows you what's coming up next. And after you watch that for 15 seconds, then it will roll a bumper and start the next program. What I did is I edited down some video files from some sporting events, and I just put them in here as programs, and they're anywhere from about 5 to 6 minutes up to about 8 or 9 minutes. And we set the program time to be 15 minutes so that there's a 15-minute program represented, and the content is the gameplay with whatever announcements, commercials, halftime, anything that they might have in their program. And then once the program is done, vMix is able to determine how much time there is in the well, actually it's the server that's determining how much time is left in that 15-minute window. And then it goes to us another folder that has filler, which includes, in our case, commercials and bumpers and stingers and different things like that. So we have things of all different lengths that it can draw from, and then it will fill out the rest of that 15-minute period with the material that's in that filler folder. So like I said, right now we just started the 15-minute period. We're about 13 minutes and 30 seconds into that before we move on to the next program. And right now what you're seeing are the commercials that were embedded within the gameplay itself. And I added this little overlay in the upper left-hand corner so you'd know what would be live and hopefully live, or the program itself, or the filler. When this overlay disappears, things that'll be running will not be part of the program. They will be the filler material that allows us to go up to 15 minutes. And then when you get to the 15-minute time, it moves over to the schedule again. It runs your station identifier bumper, and then it starts right into the next program. And it's really rock solid. I've been running it for a number of days, and it just keeps going, just keeps doing what it needs to do. And pop myself into the bottom corner there, so we're not just talking to a loose screen. Now, what I'm bringing into the screen here for you to look at, that's coming in over NDI from my system over here. And I'm bringing in several screens from over there. But while that's running and going on to the next phase of this, I'm going to bring us back over here to the control section so you can take a little bit better look at this. This is the control center, and this allows you to launch a number of the items from it here. You'll notice in this little window here, just directly above me, there's some IP addresses and computer names. That tells you computers that are on your network that are running a server and are available to control. So those computers are available to run the automation against. There's a couple of other programs in here that I've launched. This automation server is running, the green, just to my that side. Yeah, right there by my end of my thumb. That is the server that is up in the top window there, and that's, yeah, in the top left window. Bring you into it here a little bit closer. In the schedule data, that is a Google Sheets that we're tied to. So being a Google Sheets, you can have multiple people accessing that, so things can be updated, new scripts can be added, the programming schedule can be updated as well. So it really makes it simple to run this. And I have no title data in this, and I have no scripting data in this. As a matter of fact, if you want to see what's actually running the program and all the things that are taking place in there, I'll switch that over. That's what's doing it, 4 lines in a Google Sheets. Now there are some scripts that it's calling, but this is where the scheduling is done. In the day column, we have asterisks, so it will run any day of the week. You can set it out and call out whatever day you want it to be, a combination of days, Monday through Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever you want, and break out your programming there. So that's what is talking to the server to make it give us what we need for the program. And so it's pretty much everything you need to know about that for a basic. This is something that we use. It tells us what things are activated on the screen. It gives us the current time. It allows us to do some settings and do some testing, a lot of testing. It also has a script builder built into it, and it allows you to export your schedule so that you have it in a CSV format so you can work with it from there. Tells us what all your overlays are related, which ones are on, if you're streaming or not, if you're using external, everything, just kind of a one place to look without having to go take a look at your vMix screen as well. So let's see here. What else we got here? And the last thing is our clock. And I showed you that previously. That shows us how many minutes we've got left before the next event. And in this case, the next event is going to be this NJCAA women's basketball program that'll be playing. So that allows you to keep up with things and see what's happening. Within the vMix window itself, there is your countdown timers that you see on the screen below videos that are playing. And because we're in this, it's hard for me to see it. It's so, I'm sure it's really bad for you as well. But it shows us how much total time in the list of programs that are playing. And it shows you the status of what the progress is on the specific video that's playing at the time, the program, and the total amount of time that is in the playlist. It's in the list. We use the list function, and it reloads lists dynamically. We're only using 2 lists currently for this setup, but we could have even more lists. But you only need a couple, because while one is playing, the other one is just sitting there waiting. And then once it calls that second one, the first one reloads itself with what it needs to reload for the next event. And then they just keep seesawing back and forth. And all that is done automatically based on the timing that we've set up, and the able to fill in the gaps with the commercials and things like that you would want to be playing to fill out your full play cycle. So that's kind of the basics of the deal. I can show you here. We're getting a lot of red blinking on my computer over here, red and yellow blinking, because the minute I launched vMix Call, my bandwidth dropped in about half between all the goodies that are happening at the same time. So that definitely affects my limited bandwidth here at the house. So I'm going to knock that down. I'm going to try to free up a little more breathing room for it if I can. I'll probably cut that off too. Yeah. So maybe that'll help it run a little smoother after a few minutes. But this is the actual play here from a browser that's happening, and it'll buffer on me and stuff, like I said, because I've got just really not good internet today. But everything is playing fine on the server itself over there. I also put together a little demo with a website. I just built a quick Wix setup and dropped it in there, so you could kind of get a sense of what your experience for your customers might be. And so it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But vMix is your engine for your content and for the scheduling and organizing of all that. That takes place over in automation for vMix. So that is about it.
Well, that's pretty darn awesome, Dave. So you've got starting over here. You've got a Google Sheet that has your lines in it that basically are your schedule, and the automation for vMix is reading the Google Sheet, and based on what it sees in there, it is then sending executable commands to vMix to tell vMix to do what's in this sheet. Sounds pretty simple. Here's
the cool thing about it is that using the vMix API, you can do so much more stuff than you can do just trying to run vMix and use your shortcuts and triggers and things. Everything is so much more timeable and configurable from back there, and it's just super powerful because of that. And if you go to the Step Back in Time .tv website, there's a section in the buttons on the top of that screen about automation, and you can go there and you can download a version of it, and you can request a free license to be able to play with it. Now, you can't save anything with the free license as far as all the configuration you do in the system, but you can build your spreadsheet and have all your things there. So that's a way to get going. Right now, because it's not been released yet, Giles is selling, I guess this is pre-release license for $60. So you can get a copy of it to play with and do all this. And he's using pretty much the same logic as vMix uses. When he has upgrades, versions, editions, like with this TV station edition, you won't be able to get that for $60. But you can do what you just saw me do for $60. So, like I said, he's really working hard on the TV station edition, and when he gets that ready, you'll be able to play the files at a scheduled time. That'll be one of the extensions. You'll be able to play a station identifier, a bumper, and the next episode in a series. So it's an episodic type deal, and then you can fill the timeout like we optionally did here with that. And he'll have the commercial things built in so that you can do all your commercials, your scheduling, and the filler, and then reporting and tracking will come, because if you take this and you start running your ads and you're on the local cable channel, you want to be able to show your advertisers every time their ad ran. Now, obviously, if you recorded a football game and you're inserting ads on the fly and you leave those ads in, those are always going to be there. But it's like in between, that's the ads that you'll be adding. Now, we can also, which will come in a later extension that you can get involved with. We don't have any idea of costs at any point of adding extensions, but those ones I just covered are included with the TV station edition. We'll be able to insert commercials in the middle of a program. I don't know if you've watched some of the things that are out on Roku and places like that, but there's like a channel called the Pluto channel, and you can watch that, and they've got a whole list of programs that you can switch between and all that. But what they do with commercials, they run them on a time basis. Every 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, they roll to commercial. And when they roll to commercial, they're not being triggered by a built-in commercial break in the content. So somebody's in mid-sentence and it rolls the commercial. And it's like, okay, but then it comes back from the commercial and it rolls the video back 5 seconds. And so you get to hear what happened before they cut and roll right through the cut. Mm-hmm. So we have that capability as well. That will be in one of the extension packs that will be available after the initial release. So what else did he talk about here? He sent me some notes. And he even talked about Slack take-up situations where a live broadcast ends before the next scheduled item. It's something to come in and take up that slack between that. And you can also, if you schedule a live event, if you want to do your news report, or like our buddy Sam Reichard at Olive Branch decides you want him to come and do live news, or he wants to insert a live, he just puts that time slot in there. He just needs to be ready to go because it's going to roll. And if he's not in front of the camera, you just got, okay, where'd Sam go? But knowing Sam, he'll be on time. But yeah, you can do live broadcasts, news updates, breaking news, all those things. But besides those live pieces that you might want to put into your program, if you've got content and you organize it and break it out and put it in folders so that the system can find it, it'll come in and start pulling stuff and start playing it for you. And it's kind of self-programming in a way, but if you want specific things at specific times, etc., that can all be done as well. So it can kind of, like I said, just go freelance and roll one right after the other, each item that's in your folder, and it can do that. Or if you want them in a specific order, you can set them up that way as well. So
Dave, this is amazing.
A lot in the package.
Amazing.
Requirements.
I thought Giles was a Southern England farmer. I mean, really.
He's a displaced genius.
He is.
But there are some minimum requirement is that you have at least vMix full HD.
Okay.
Because we're using the list function within vMix. And you don't get list with, well, I guess you get it with SD maybe, right. But who wants SD?
Right,
yeah.
Right.
I mean, you could, I guess. As long as you've got the list function capability, because that's what we're leveraging here to do all this, as far as setting your list up and rolling it and loading a new list and all that. And it'll run on probably anything from like version 20 on up, but we prefer 23 because there is some functionality that happens because of 23. And so prefer 23. And, most everybody keeps up with the latest version. And there were some things that came into being in version 23 that allowed Giles to add things that he wanted to add, but they weren't available prior to 23. So,
Very cool.
And that's kind of it. And it, like I said, the automation software can run on anything. Giles has it running one of his instances on this really old Windows, just small 2 gigs of memory kind of thing, and it doesn't take up a lot of resources to control everything else.
Right.
So you can have your main streaming system for your program, which doesn't have to be a vMix live streaming system. It can be a nice i5 in a tower with a nice graphics card in it and about 8 gigs of RAM, and it should just roll.
Right. Because it's not processing cameras or audio or any of that. No. It's just playing out.
Yeah, I have 4 input windows that are open. A lot of this, all this other stuff here that you see in my window that are turned on their side, I'm not using but one of those, and that's the one that puts the little banner up at the top of the content, the little diagonal banner. Everything else is in these 4 windows here.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And actually, I'm not even using the 4th one because that one is actually a spinning graphic that I added, and I'm not even using it. So I'm really using these 3 pieces here: 2 inputs that are list, and then the schedule window. Everything else. So that's all you're running. And you're not recording it. You're just streaming it and switching back and forth. And all the timing is being done within automation itself.
Cool. Very cool. Hat tip to Giles. That's really awesome. So to get
now he's willing to come with you and go into detail on this on another show down the road. He wasn't available today, right? I had him peeping over my shoulder and telling me, don't say that, say this. But yeah, if you want to get him on for, all the other stuff it can do, this is just the TV
So
piece.
First of all, we're still in beta. It's not a released version. This is still in beta.
Correct.
And this base module, he has taken it and he's modified it to use for TV playout. What are some of the other examples of how it might be used?
Well, when you start your show, for instance, you've got all your triggers and all that stuff and everything, and you can do all that but if you need to like cold walk in to say you're visiting and you go, oh, I'm going to do my show. Can I do my show from your place? You don't have to bring all your assets and everything with you. You just need a few things. You can kick it off, and you don't have to reprogram their computer and all. You just have it all. It's in your spreadsheet, and it's sitting over on a computer in Alabama, and you just link back to that computer, and it just.
So I could be remote on a vMix call, and that vMix call could come into my main vMix system here in my studio, and the server the server has to be on the same network as vMix, or can they be?
Well. Yes, it has to be on the same network.
Okay.
The thing is that what I do on my computers, 2 things that I install on my computers when I start playing with this stuff. I install a little application called NetTime. That keeps my clock updated every hour. So it's pretty accurate all the time because you're running on a clock. Your program needs to go live, it needs to go live. So I do that. The other thing I load on it is called Zero Tier. Zerotier. It's a VPN, but what it is more than a VPN is it allows you to create a global area network. So you know how if you've got an X keys and you're trying to control something,
you're going to be tested on this later. Take your notes.
You know how you have your X keys and you want to program somebody else's computer over TeamViewer, and you have to literally go in and type each key reference because it won't pass over the internet through TeamViewer. Would you do that? Well, if you connect up with Zerotier, the computer at the other end does not have to have one of these. I use for the X keys, I use Zerotier and something called Virtual Here, which allows me to assign a USB device on my end through a network, which will be Zerotier, and the computer at the other end doesn't have an X keys, but I can push this key down here, find, and it finds it. So I can program a remote computer to run off my X keys, having those two little pieces of free software. Now, the Virtual Here you can buy, and it allows you to do more than one USB device. So you could use a mouse, a keyboard, your X keys, your MIDI controller. You could do all this stuff that's not even there, but control it using that. But, I'm using the free version. It's only $49 for the whole version for the Virtual Here. And the Zerotier is free as well. However, if you wanted to control or have 100 or more devices on your network, then there's a cost. So anything less than 100, you're good. It is those two cool little tools come in handy and allow you to be there when you're really not there. And you can't do the same things that you can do with TeamViewer and all that. However, you can watch what you're doing on TeamViewer or Google Remote Desktop or whatever VNC or whatever it is that you've got connected, but then you can do control with devices, real devices here on your desktop. But those are just ancillary bits, but that's how you get on the same network when you're halfway across the world. Giles and I are connected. I can go in to my input right now, and I can say add an input, and I can choose NDI, and I can see this computer back here behind me. I can see my computer over there. I believe Giles is offline today. If he was online, I could see whatever computers he had shared NDI because we're connected on that network, and the delay in it is negligible. So it was worth the price of admission today just to learn about those.
Oh, tools. Yeah. Oh, golly. Yeah. Oh, and if you haven't already paid,
and then you
folks,
add automation on top.
stick 25 cents into the top of your computer, and I'll get it. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
That's right. But like I said, those are little ancillary things, but those help you to make this even more robust than what it is, because this is made to talk to vMix and make vMix do your bidding. And these other things allow you to do that from kind of like anywhere in the world.
Sure.
And even the Google Sheets aspect of it gives you some level of that before going to all that, because once we share a Google Sheet with somebody, they can come in and update your data. It's just like doing data sources. If you had somebody who is a real statistician for football or baseball, they could just be updating all of your data and your lower thirds and your scoreboards and all that stuff. So, we've been doing that for a long time just with the Google Sheets concept.
Right.
But this kind of takes it to the next level.
So, Dave, can this be started and stopped? For example, if we have a live game and we're playing the first quarter and then the second quarter, and we've got a 10-minute halftime, can we remotely, can we remotely activate this to have it take over and do the halftime show, and then at the end of 10 minutes, it'll give us back control of vMix? Am I making
That
sense with
yeah,
that?
that would be something that you would have to schedule in there based on some rough amount of time, and you just wouldn't switch to it until you were ready. Some of the stuff where it's kind of more free form, that's where it's harder because if
Right.
you're on a TV station, everything is by the tick of the clock.
Right.
And you watch those guys and they're going, you need to hurry up. We've got to, and the credits start to roll while they're still finishing up whatever it was that they were saying, that kind of stuff. So if you're going to be a TV station, those are the constraints. You can't just wing it with everything. The majority, and I'm talking like 99% of your stuff needs to be put into some time spot.
Gotcha.
It's not free form
Gotcha.
like that. But like I said, you could schedule something, a 15-minute show or a 30-minute show at this particular time, and you put that in the schedule. When it's time for you to go, your camera will go live.
Mm-hmm. So
and your bumpers will roll, whatever you've got set.
Is there an on-off switch?
Well, yeah, we can set it up so that you can manually interrupt.
Okay.
Obviously, you got to be in the studio because it's live anyway. So you hit your pause button or whatever we determine it to be, and then you can interrupt because that's what breaking news is. Breaking news would be that kind of thing, and it would interrupt. But what would happen is your program would continue to roll in the background. So that when you come back, it picks up right where it is at that time. So if you do a 5-minute break, you lose 5 minutes of the program, whatever was in the program.
Sure.
You don't want to re-roll that because that throws you off at the other end.
Right.
So yeah, all that can be done. All that can be done with no problem.
Awesome. So any idea what the TV license price will be? Or has that not yet been set?
Well, I think we're there with it. You're getting the TV license, and you're getting 10 hours of intense support from Giles. More than just a Facebook message and go, I forgot how to do this. What? Oh yeah, click that button. That's not one of your hours. You get 10 hours with Giles, which is part of the 10 hours will be the setup and configuration and training to get you going, which is probably going to take anywhere from like 2 to 4 hours, depending upon how much experience you've got. So you still got about 6 hours of support for about 6 months. That hasn't been totally decided yet. 3, 6 months, a year. I'm thinking we're going to end up at 6 months on it. And it will be it'll be under $700.
That doesn't include vMix.
Correct.
So BYOV.
So you need a $350, VM, yeah. So that's about $1,000, and then a computer that you can probably get in that same ballpark of price. So for a couple of $1,000, you got a TV station.
Right.
As long as you got content.
Oh, it sounds like you could take grandma's desktop computer and run the server on it.
Almost. Yeah, almost. Oh, the server, absolutely.
Yeah.
The automation for vMix, absolutely. You can run that on, like I said, almost anything. I've got some Venue Pros around here, the 11-inch ones with the, you can't upgrade anything on them. I have not run it to run something yet, but that's in the works for me to do. To set it up on one of these and have it control stuff, and let's just see what it does.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Excuse me. I can see so many uses for this besides the traditional TV station model. I mean, it's just, it sounds like it's another Swiss Army knife that will fit so many needs and fill an amalgamation of needs with one solution. Really, really, really outstanding. Now, is this a permanent license or is this a subscription?
It's not a subscription. It's like a vMix scenario where, let's say you buy his TV edition, and he comes out with version 24. You'll pay a fee to do the upgrade, kind of like vMix does, the $60 thing or whatever it is, turns out to be. And if you start out with, a lesser version, or edition, I should say, and you want to update to a more powerful edition that has more extensions and more capabilities in it, then you just pay the difference. What you pay, just like vMix, you just pay the difference and you're able to upgrade. So he kind of likes the vMix model, as we all pretty much do.
It's tried and tested. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying is this version that's out there right now that you can just go download and get a pre-release license on it for $60 is kind of like just downloading the vMix 60-day trial. It's got everything, everything that you've seen today is in it. And Giles just did a big event, a motorsports event, where he handled all of the projectors and screens on the main stage using automation, and he did it all with one computer. And he said if he had to bring all the computers he needed to do what he needed to do, it would have required four vMix computers to do it. He did it all on one. And so that's not even a TV station app. That's like you said, it is literally a Swiss Army knife for vMix use.
Okay. Now the three questions hit my mouth at the same time. Sorry about that. Automation for vMix, is that the part we would call the server?
When you download vMix, not vMix, automation for vMix,
right?
You get this deal here. What you do, I want to trim it down some here. Not that one. This one. That's the one I want. This is what you get here, and it has all these other things that it can install and activate at a time. And so what will happen as he starts breaking these down into editions, there will be some of the differences will be these add-ons that are in here. So what we're looking at here as the actual server software and all these little ancillary pieces that you can use. He has a thing that will, you can do digital signage with. He has, I don't want to blow up Toby and the gang, but he has an auto camera switching capability in it. Very rudimentary, but it does work. A file watcher, so it can watch files changes and do things based on that. It's got a lot of stuff in it. So you get all of these little applications, applets, I guess, that are listed here. Those are included when you do the download now. It includes the server, which is in this upper window. Server in the upper left-hand window. This is the GUI, test GUI. This is the clock, and then these other things that are in there as well. So if I launch those, they'll just launch. And when they launch, they'll update as well. So if they need an update, it'll send the update over. So.
Cool.
So yeah, that all would run on a little standalone computer. I mean, you can run it on the same computer as well.
That was my next
question. Doesn't have to run on another computer. Yeah. Absolutely not. It's so lightweight. It just doesn't take up much resource at all. But if you wanted to do it remotely, you could.
I could do that remotely. My Google Sheets could be changed by anybody anywhere in the world.
Yes.
So it really does open up access to this, meaning that you could almost have a server somewhere in a server farm running vMix.
I thought about all that of building yourself a virtual box out in the cloud somewhere and having it run your vMix, and all this, and then just have a little computer at the house running this or running on the same box. And I don't know how that would all go, but you got to get to your content, and that's the tricky part,
Right.
finding your content and
Right.
having that not change. I mean, if your content is on the D drive and it's in the content folder, that's where it's going to look every time. It's not going to dynamically just be able to find your content as you
Right.
dump it all on a hard drive.
Right.
And you don't want your content on an external drive. You want your content on a drive plugged into the hard drive interface. So that's why a tower would be your best bet on this, because then you could have swappable drives.
Right.
They don't have to be SSDs, but those obviously run quicker and use a lot less power and all that. And the prices now are just crazy, amazingly good. So
It's crazy. Yeah.
yeah, and so swappable drives would be a nice feature to have in your hardware, but it's not necessary. I mean, you can while you're running off one drive, you could have a second drive that is your drive that you're queuing up stuff on for the next month.
Right.
And when you're getting ready to change, you just do a station identification at midnight and play the national anthem and go off the air for 5 minutes while you switch over and bring it right back up. Whatever. Or start up another computer and send something out there for content while you're doing the switch over.
Right. Right. I like it.
So,
I like it. Cool. Well, I got to get a hold of Giles, and maybe we'll see if we can't get him
Good luck.
on when he's ready to release the TV license.
Yeah.
As a for release, not a beta type situation. This could be really cool. See,
well, he
tons of
says
possibilities.
available early in March is what he said. So we'll see if by.
Next
so I'm
week.
thinking we should have it by mid-March. Well, he's been playing with this. He's been working on. He had that huge event that he was doing, and he just had to get off of that. And then we were working on the promotional demonstration that I did yesterday as well. And then because I had that, I had something to show to you as well. So
Awesome.
still getting flashing lights on my upload. So just have to have good internet, man.
Well, who are you uploading to?
I'm
Not
just
me.
uploading to a CDN.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. So
I'm
you don't
uploading to a CDN, and I'm uploading to you on.
It
on
doesn't
that,
even have
so
to. It doesn't
I've
even
got-
have to stream for the purposes of what we're doing.
Well, I'm streaming that to a place so it can
Right.
be disseminated.
Right.
But
Right.
you wouldn't have to stream if you had SRT capabilities on the other end, which you could do that in the cloud with AWS.
Yes,
So it's
you
not
can.
even really quote unquote streaming like, and you're going to get, I mean, there's just so many ways. I mean, it's been released into the wild now. So the brains are spinning. I
Right.
can just
Right.
hear the idiots cooking up ideas and ways to use this that were never intended. And so, it's
Guaranteed.
the end of the world as we know it, Tom.
It's a whole new chapter. It really is. It's like we've opened a door. And I don't know if you ever were a fan of C.S. Lewis, but there's a series of children's books that he wrote called The Chronicles of Narnia. And in the last book called The Last Battle, they have arrived at their final destination. And so they open a door, and there's a world inside the door that's bigger than the world that they just left. And then they find another door, and the same kind of thing. So it's kind of like an onion, except for in reverse. And this
In
has
reverse, yeah.
some of the same
like
aspects to it.
The Russian nesting dolls, except like I said, it's in reverse.
You open it up, and there's a bigger one inside. Yes.
You're starting in the middle instead of from the outside. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Well, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So we need to get Giles over here to the States to take him to NAB. Maybe not.
You'd
this
have to
year.
do remember the old A-Team and Mr. T character,
Yeah.
B.A. Baracus. They had to drug him because he didn't like to fly, and I think that's what we'd have to do to Giles to get him over here.
Well,
Have to feed him a cheese sandwich with something to knock him out so we can get him on the plane.
they make boats. Yeah, you could come over on a boat.
I don't know if he likes that either or not. He's a landlubber all the way around, I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha. That'd have to be a virtual trip then. Okay. Well,
Yep,
maybe we'll
yep.
just go over there. Well, I tell you, we'll just go over there for IBC, because he could go up to Amsterdam. That wouldn't be too far. That's drivable. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dave, you are a gem to take time out today to come on and talk about this. I'm really delighted, and thank you for your time and your expertise. I'm sure this is going to be a big hit, and I can't wait to get a hold of my version of it and give it a try and play with it and see. Gunnar says it's running like a dream, so there you go. It didn't take him long.
Gunnar's an expert.
Yep.
Gunnar is a 5-star expert with this thing. He's quite a brainiac too.
You know, when I was in Amsterdam with vMix back in September, somebody from Disney came up and was asking about this exact type thing. You know, does vMix do this? And I said, well, you know, it doesn't really do it yet, but now it does. So if Mr. Disney guy, if you're watching, talk to Dave. Yeah. Good. Well, we're going to end the regular part of the show. If you've got questions, we'll answer them in the post show. So stick around, and we'll be right back. And that's a wrap. Let's see. Let's find Dave. There he is. Well done, sir. Well done, sir. No pressure.
Yeah, well, you know.
Kenny says great demo.
I would much rather. I know, but Kenny's too kind.
Yeah.
It would have been nice for you to have Giles here. He could give you all of everything and build the dream for you. But
well, we got the foundation.
You know, I do what I can. Yeah, I do what I can.
Yeah, so. This is really cool, and this is going to fit a big need. A big need for low-end TV stations that can't afford the $100,000 setup, and for people that would like to take their content and create their own TV station. I was talking with Ron a little while ago, and he said, you know, this is he texted me last night and said, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And he's just up the road here in Daphne, Alabama, and you know
Yep.
he's gonna pick out the sporting events that he's been live streaming and recording, and he's going to make those available not just on demand but on schedule now. And you know we have become accustomed to turning on the TV set and following whatever the schedule is, and we can pick up our phone and go to YouTube TV and and watch anything we want anytime we want. But still, we're used to this schedule kind of thing, and I think that's going to have an appeal to a certain number of folks.
Well, the other piece to that is you'll put this together and you'll put it in, on a website or on your Roku channel or whatever you want for that purpose, and that will meet a certain need, like you said, because that will be a live, quote unquote, live channel, even though it's recorded content, but it's like TV. But the other piece is that once you have something like this that can run this way, a lot of these cable stations, local cable providers, are looking for content for the local type cable stuff, and you come to them and you say, well, I've got this whole thing here and I can provide you with the type file that you need, and you can ingest it, and you just walk away and I'll deal with it. You just make sure you're up and running, and I'll make sure its content is coming your way. And you might need to do a proof of concept, those kind of things, and they might
Sure.
go, well, this is great.
Right.
And so
Right.
then you capture those people who don't do internet stuff much, but do watch TV. This can get you in really easily into some of the retirement places and things along those lines.
Sure.
It does grab one mentality and aspect that we miss doing what we do with live streaming normally.
Yes. But see, my mom is in a retirement center or retirement community up in Virginia, and I could see probably not staff, but maybe some of the residents there could get something like this, and they could put together all of the presentations that had taken place there, about flowers and about history and about this and that, and put them all together, and then just put them on their local network and let them run constantly. And it would be so easy to do it, and then they could shift out the schedule whenever they needed to. This is tremendous. This is tremendous. This is a game changer.
I think so too.
This is a game changer.
Charlie has some ideas.
I bet he does. Shoo. Charlie's got more ideas. But Giles, if you're listening, this is a game changer. You done good. Holy cow. Yes. All right. Super. All right. Questions. Anybody, if you asked a question before and it's zipped by on the chat, go ahead and pop it back in. If you're watching us on Facebook on the Streaming Idiots group, we can't see those directly. So come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com and get in on the chat there on the Watch Live page. Or if you're stuck on Facebook, just go over to the Eastern Shore Broadcasting page on Facebook, and we can see those. Frank is saying, let's see, Dave, has vMix shown any interest in adopting this into their software?
No. I don't believe. It's like I said, Martin has been asked about scheduling, play out type stuff, and he has been fairly adamant, I believe, about saying that would not be part of vMix. There are other solutions out there, and he just doesn't want to go that route, I don't believe. And I don't think that'll ever happen. But I don't think it'll have to happen because he's provided the API and the functionality of vMix and keeps revolutionizing that. Just when you think he's done all he can do, he may go back and modernize something or come up with some idea from all of the feature requests. But this one probably would be the very last thing that he does before he takes a dirt nap, is to put a play-out system, TV scheduling system within vMix. So
I think this is exactly what Martin wanted to see happen. That he would have a base of certain operation that people could build on whatever they wanted. And it's been sitting out there literally for years waiting for people to grab it. And a few people have with the virtual video director that does the live switching with vMix based on the whatever mic is carrying audio, and I think there's something that they tried to do a kind of a scheduler called, I think, VTask it was a while back, and it had some limited success. But I see this as a more comprehensive solution and probably as a good model for people that want to build on top of vMix in the future, of what can be done and how it can be done. I really, really, really like that. Otis says that they roll their church announcements throughout their campus between services using the timed playlist function in vMix. So there you go.
Yep.
And Otis, something like this might even give you guys some options that you don't already have. Michael Graves says, I'd advise against building this into vMix. It should be separate. And Michael, I don't even think you need to advise against it. I don't think Martin wants any part of it. I mean, he doesn't want to take feature sets and allow you to buy individuals' feature sets and put them in vMix because the support would just be so awful. He's going to give you the whole thing and you can unlock what you need, but it's all there. Yeah. Let's see. Martin is asking, is it possible to automatically change the cameras based on audio sources? I'd like to create a conversation with 2 mics, 2 cameras. Yes. A new app came out for that, I guess just a couple of months ago, called Virtual video director. You can find it in our store at easternshorebroadcasting.com. I think it's $220. It's a permanent license, and it runs with vMix and basically allows you to measure the amount of audio, and it will change direction based on that. Yep.
See Kyle's message.
It's not showing up here. Read it to me.
Oh, it's Kyle Gunderman says he's been using it for his school's public access channel, including live 5-day weather forecasts.
Wow.
Yes, he has the same thing you download when you go download it.
So Kyle's
been using it for his school.
A recorded thing with spaces in there to put in a live weather broadcast. That's cool.
Yes.
That's cool.
Kyle's been there from very, very early on. Very, very early on. Kyle's been involved. So,
well, Kyle, maybe you can come on the show sometime and show how you're doing that there at your school. That would be really neat.
There you go.
Yeah. Tommy says in camera switching part of automation for vMix. Dave said it is. Yep. And actually, vMix has built into it the ability to do camera switching based on audio. It just doesn't know what to do when two people talk at the same time. So it's the exceptions to the rule that make it difficult to cover. Yeah.
It's just the levels that you need to go to. How perfect do you want it?
Right.
Like you said, you can just kind of do it within vMix, or you can do it with automation for vMix at a higher level than just trying to do it within vMix, because there's some intelligence that you can work with there, or you can do it with the new software, which is on steroids and has all this time and money put into developing it and the algorithm to handle all that. So it just depends on how smooth you need it to be, how perfect you need it to be. So, each tool for the job.
Dave, as you're talking about it, it seems to me that automation for vMix would work just as well for a radio station as it would a TV station. Everything is just an audio file, but it's just a file, and vMix is playing a file. Holy cow!
Yeah. You could do audio play out for sure, and then just send it to IceCast instead of streaming it to a CDN.
Right.
Sure, IceCast streamer.
All right, what does Kyle say?
Yeah, I had. He has a web page watcher, and that looks for school closings and brings it in as an overlay. So it's watching for that specific thing and brings it in.
That would be for snow, because Kyle's in Connecticut, I think. Yeah.
But whatever reason they're closed.
Well, we close them down here for Mardi Gras. Does that count? But that's on a schedule.
As long as it says it's closed, Kyle's application would say, "Hey,
there you go.
School," as if the kids didn't know, right?
Right. They've been praying for it. And there's another comment that's just off the top of the screen that I can't catch here where I'm looking.
I think this person, Odemar Salgado Lara,
there it is
commenting on the software, the automated switching software. Says, nice video conference, very interesting. I'm starting on this thing and I love it. Thank you for your information. Greetings from Costa Rica. So that's what I'm assuming.
Very good. Oldemar, glad to have you, and glad it worked for you. If you have any questions, get a hold of us. We're easy to find. Yes, we are. Well, Dave, I think it's time for us to part company here.
Yep.
Take a little break until
Take
April.
A break. Yeah. And I will get an email out to you and Kenny, and we'll kind of start a little dialogue about what some plans are to do with the interviews.
That would be good.
I'm thinking of like two different sets of interviews, kind of a set of notable quotables, and then a shorter set of people that are going to be sponsors that are going to be giving away gear, because we want to give them some face time too. So if you and Kenny want to think
Any
about
thoughts about the photo/streaming booth?
Oh yeah, we're definitely doing that. We're definitely doing that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's
Good.
I was talking with Scott Whitney about that the other day, Scott and Nick, and we're probably going to set it up back in their green screen studio section, which is actually in the back of their studio. So it doesn't clog up the entrance or anything like that. You go back there, and you'll be in a green screen studio, which means we can put anything on the wall behind you we want to. And so we're not quite
Without
sure.
telling you what it is that we're putting there, right?
That's right. And so anybody that comes to the meetup has an opportunity to give a shout out to anybody that's watching, and of course to be part of the recorded archive for the meetup. And so, you and Kenny will be doing your interviews, but we'll be breaking away from that and going to the live video booth for shout outs, and then coming back to the interviews. And then so there'll be a live stream that happens the whole time, but it'll be different kinds of content depending on what's going on.
Good.
So I think it'll be fun. It may not be perfect, but it's going to be fun. In fact, I can guarantee you it won't be perfect, but it will be fun.
That's a requirement, right?
Yep, that's right.
Perfection not allowed.
Yeah, now I did get word, Rich is asking, the NAB broadcast at the vMix or the PTZ booth, that Broadcast Beat, the Broadcast Beat magazine, that sponsors the NAB live stream every year, they'll be doing it again this year. I think it's up in the lobby of Central Hall. And Paul Richards at PTZ Optics is doing a good bit of it, and I think they're actually going to be using the PTZ Optics cameras this year for the NAB Broadcast Beat live stream. That's pretty cool. I'm excited about that. They've asked me to come and be on a panel to talk about church live streaming, which will be a lot of fun. But so Rich, the NAB broadcast, at least from Broadcast Beat, will be coming to you from the Broadcast Beat Center. I don't know if PTZ Optics is doing a live stream. I haven't heard about that yet. But the Streaming Idiots meetup will be from Scott Whitney's studio. And it will be on all your regular live streaming idiot channels for sure. Very good. All right, my friend. You're a treat. You're a treat.
I've been called worse.
Yeah, I bet you have. Let's say goodbye to everybody. I want to have a private word with Dave, and we will catch you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Sam Ricard just got here. He's looking forward to the replay on YouTube. It's, in fact, I think the DVR function works, Sam. You can just draw back the little slider and go back and watch the beginning of the show. But Dave and I won't see you next week. I'll see you next week, but you can see Dave at NAB on April 20th at the Streaming Idiots meetup at Scott Whitney's studio and get his autograph. It's going to be a great time. Bring his book. He'll autograph his book for you too while you're there. All right, we'll catch you guys later. Let's see if this works.
Geez.
I don't think that worked. Let's see. So y'all sit tight. We'll get you a good, decent closing here. Don't go anywhere, Dave.